Okay, so today in second grade, we are going to go over addition with whole numbers, and we are going to be using our base 10 blocks. And remember, we've been using our base 10 blocks before, but we don't have a flue chart today because we are trying to move away from our flue chart. So let's just go over this really quick. Our longs are 10 units. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we know that one long represents 10 units. And then today we're also going to be working with our units, which just represent 1. So our problem that we have today is there are 28 students in Mrs. John's class and 34 students in Mrs. Smith's class. So if the two classes are to join together, how many total students will there be? So looking at this problem, we know that when two numbers join together that we are adding. So we're going to need to add 28 and 34, and we're going to use our base 10 blocks to help us with that. So first let's make 28. Now we know that our longs represent 10. So one long is we have 10, and we need one more to represent 20. And now we need 8. So we need to have 8 units. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we have 28 for Mrs. John's class. And now Miss Smith's class has 34. So we need 3 longs that each represent 10. 1, 2, 3. And then we need 4 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 28 and 34. So the first thing that we're going to do when we add these two numbers together is combine all of the ones. So let's take all of our units that just represent 1 and put them together. Now remember, if we have 10 ones, we can regroup them and replace it with a long. So let's see how many that we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we see that we have 10 units here. We can regroup these units and for a long. And you can see here that they measure up. So these 10 units equal a long. So we'll take these, and now we have another long. And we just have 2 units left. So how many longs do we have total? Let's put them together. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We know that each of these represents 10. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And then we have 2 units, 1, 2. So we know that when we add 28 plus 34, that we have 62. Another method that we can use to solve this problem is using a number line. And so here is our number line, and here's our scratch paper right here. I just want to go ahead and write at the top of the number line what our problem is. So it's the same problem. There are 28 students in Mrs. John's class and 34 students in Mrs. Smith's class. So if the two classes are to join together, how many total students will there be? So we're adding 28 plus 34. So when we're adding on a number line, what we're going to do is start with the largest number. So if we look at these two numbers, we know that 34 is larger than 28. So we are going to start with number 34 on our number line. So here's our number line, and here's number 30, 1, 2, 3, 34. So I'm just going to put a little star right here so we know that we're starting at 34. So when we're adding on a number line, we're going to make jumps on the number line that are going to be easier for us to add than these really big numbers. So what's something that would be really easy to add to 34 that would make it easier for us to add the rest of 28? And let's think about it. What can we add to 4 to get 10, because if we have 10, it'll be easier to add the rest of the numbers. So we know that if we add 6 to 4, that gives us 10. So we're going to make a jump on the number line to 40, and we're adding 6. So we know that 34, if we add 6 more, then that brings us to 40. So here's our 28, and we're just going to divide it up. If we have 6 here, then we know that we just have 22 of 28 left. So we need to make more jumps that equal 22. So now that we've hit the 10, we can make more jumps of 10 spaces. So if we make another jump of 10, our first jump of 10, then that will bring us to 50. And we can split again our number and have 10, because we're jumping by 10, and then we just have 12 left. And if we have 12 left, then we can make another jump of 10. So we're going to jump one more time, 10 spaces. And so we're going to take 10 more from our number, and we just have 2 left. So that shows us that on our number line, we need to make one more jump of 2 spaces. So we're going to jump 2 spaces, and that brings us to the number 62. And if you want to check yourself, you can see that you have made a jump of 6, 10, 10 again, and 2 at the end. And so 34, all of these jumps equal 28, and that brings us to the number 62. Okay, so in first grade, we are learning to count groups of objects. So here on the table, I have a group of our base 10 blocks. And we are going to learn 2 different ways that we can count these groups of objects. Now this looks like a lot of objects, and so if we just start to point to them all and count them, we might get confused and lose track. So one thing that we can do to count these objects is to use a hundreds chart. And this method is going to be called one-to-one correspondence. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our first block and we're going to place it on the number 1. So we know that this block is 1, and we have 1 total block on our hundreds chart. And we're going to continue to place 1 block on each square. So now we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So as you can see, we're using one-to-one correspondence because we're placing 1 block on the number that it represents. So right now we have 10 blocks total, but we still have a lot left. So let's keep going. Here's 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So now we have 20 blocks on our hundreds chart, but we still have some left. So let's keep counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so now we have 30 blocks total on our hundreds chart, and we have 2 left. So we have 31 and 32. So if we look at our hundreds chart, we can see that our blocks are each on their own space. So we know that that's one-to-one correspondence. And the last block lands on the number 32. So that tells us that we have 32 total blocks. So there's one way that you can count a group of objects using the hundreds chart. Now we're going to cover another way that we can use, and that is going to be called subitizing. And subitizing is a big word, and I'm going to show you how we're going to use it. So here again, we have a big group of objects, and it's going to be hard to count all of these by ourselves. So what we're going to do is group these objects into groups of 10. So I have here our tens frame, and we've seen this 10 frame before. So we know that if we place 1 chain link on each space, that we have 10 total. So here I'm just placing 1 on each spot. So I know that this is 10. So for me to remember that this is 10, I'm going to link all of them together. So I'm making a chain link, and it's going to be 10 links long. And we know that it's going to be 10 links long because we measured it out with our tens frame. So now we have a link. And we know that this link is 10 links long because we measured it out. So when we see this link, we know that there's 10 separate chain links on it. So that is our subitizing. We can look at that and we can know that it's 10. So we're going to do that again because we still have a lot of chain links left. So we're just going to measure it out again on our tens frame. There's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So here's our 10, and now we're going to link them all together. We're making us another chain. 6, 8, 9, and 10. So now we have 2 chains, and we know that these both represent 10. We're going to do it again. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we're going to link these together. One last time. I think this is the last time that we'll have enough links to make a chain. Okay. So here we have our chain links, and it looks like we have 2 left. Now when we look at these chain links, we know that there is 10 separate links in each chain because we measured them out using our tens frame. So we are able to subitize this chain and know that this represents 10. So if we have 10 here, and 10 here, and 10 here, then we know that we have 10, 20, and 30. So we know that this is 30 links total. And then we can look at our tens frame and we see that we only have 2 chain links left. So we know that there's a total of 32 chain links.
What do you mean?